atmosphere is electric here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fans have jammed their way onto Bradford Beach. It will be standing room only. Great seats, of course, a hot commodity. You want to be in the front row for this one. A reminder, if you're a bratwurst and don't have a ticket, stay home. We are sold out. The conditions hot and humid, perfect for roasting chicken. And playing a little volleyball, the $100,000 Miller Lite Open. Hello again, everybody, and welcome along with Paul Sunderland. I'm Chris Marlowe. So far, the big story on the beach this summer, the dominance of Karch Kiraly and Ken Stephens. The Kings of the Beach have won 11 of the first 13 tournaments. Today, however, they're not entered in the event. What's the story? What about Karch first?
Well, interesting and serious with Karch Kiraly. Kiraly missing the first beach volleyball tournament of his professional career due to injury. Last week in Boulder, Colorado, chasing after an errant ball, crashed into a banner and bruised his kidneys severely. Lots of blood in the urine. He's obviously out this week, maybe next, but will hopefully be back for Manhattan Beach. His partner, Ken Stephens, without Kiraly, the King of the Beach, didn't want to risk his #1 ranking on the computer and says, I think I'll skip this one too.
The case of the costly kidney for Karchy. That made Adam Johnson and Randy Stokos the #1 seed. How did they do? Not so well. Upset in the first round.
Well, terrible result. They've had a disappointing season so far, taking on the #16 seed, Eric Wirtz and Danielle Cardenas, and Johnson and Stokos were just never in it. They go down to a 15-10 defeat. #1 seed, thank you very much. Hello to the losers bracket.
All right, our matchup today, Troy Tanner, Wes Welch, Eduardo Basil, Jose Loyola.
Well, first of all, Troy Tanner, 1988 Olympic gold medalist, really emerging this year because of his partner, Wes Welch. Big blocker. This is a super team right now. They've beaten Kiraly and Stephens twice. Now, the first international contingent ever on the Pro Beach Tour, the Brazilians. Eduardo Basil. Call me Anginho, the little angel. He's a phenomenal defensive player, works great out on the beach, in the backcourt, and his partner, the highest flyer in beach volleyball in the world, Jose Loyola. If you don't get him early, you won't get him at all, ever. He can crank from the outside.
The Nestea plunge inside. Look, what do Tanner and Welch have to do? First up, jump on Anginho, block him, serve him, get to him. And second of all, no brain cramps. This means Wes Welch. Welch has been erratic in the past. He must play at the top of his game. For Anginho Loyola, or Basil Loyola, I should say, a wake-up call for Basil. Sometimes he can start out very, very slowly. And, of course, the hotter, the better for the fiery Brazilian team. Troy Tanner and Wes Welch. They've had two bad weekends the last 2 weeks. They got an 8th and a 9th the last 2 weekends, but they have been one of the surprise teams, one of the powerful teams. Meanwhile, the Brazilians have never won a tournament on the AVP Tour. In fact, neither of these two teams has. This is to advance into the semifinal. It is a double elimination tournament, AVP format, so the loser of this one would drop into the consolation bracket, or as it's known today as the contenders bracket, and the winner would move on. Eduardo Basil will serve. They call him Anginho. It's much like a soccer nickname, like Pelé.
And these two players, with the World Cup residing in the United States right now, are certainly interested in the outcome of their national team. But Anginho and Loyola, dynamic team, the first team, as I mentioned, ever outside of the United States to compete, and they have competed extremely well.
1 game to 15. Ball served out of bounds. You can only score when you serve in Pro Beach volleyball. Anginho is the smaller player with the red hat. Loyola, the big guy, no shirt, red headband. And here is Wes Welch. He'll serve it up, 34 years old. And point right off the bat. A rebound serve for Welch.
The weapon, the jump serve, right away the score for Wes Welch and Troy Tanner. Welch has a very unusual jump serve, not because of the style or anything else, but sometimes very little top spin, not a true line, very difficult to pass.
Loyola, first attempt. Loyola dug. Chance for another point. Welch got it.
Excellent bump set to make the play possible for Wes Welch by his partner, Troy Tanner. Set the ball in college, a little bit with the national team. Great deep court bump set.
2-0 our score. Welch and Tanner lead. And Loyola hits it right out of bounds. That makes it 3-0. So the Brazilians have not gotten their wake-up call as of yet.
Brazilian coffee available in the players' tent. I hope they had their fair share.
Wes Welch continuing to serve. Buries it, side out.
Very interesting that they're serving Jose Loyola at the beginning of this match. Clearly the stronger spiker, and Anginho the better setter. This looks like it's playing into the strength of this team of Jose Loyola and Eduardo Basile, Anginho. Most of the serves usually go to Anginho, the smaller of the two players.
This is Troy Tanner. And Tanner whacks it on the line. Troy Tanner, gold medalist in 1988, and he will serve. It's 3-0. 30 years old, 6'4", moving up as his AVP ranking has climbed to 13 out of San Clemente, California. Nice block, and Basile is into the net. So the Brazilians have come out pathetically, and they trail 4-0.
Just giving away points on unforced errors. Loyola hits a ball out of bounds, and Anginho hits a ball that never clears the net. And Tanner and Welch off to a very, very good start.
20-second timeout taken by Basile and Loyola. They are in trouble. The pressure being applied by Troy Tanner and Wes Welch. Miller Lite Cup, Ryan Steffes are leading, followed by Johnson, Stokos, Whitmarsh, Dodd, and Ludies. But the money makes it very interesting this week, Paul.
Yeah, points awarded each and every week, and this is what you win, the top 7 places. Now, Steffes would have played this week. He would have gone ahead of Kirai and won $100,000. Kirai would have dropped down, finishing second, and won $50,000. But Kent Steffes looking to protect that #1 ranking and possibly some bonus clauses in other endorsement contracts. Chose not to play. Tried very hard to play with Adam Johnson, but when that couldn't work out, decided to stay at home.
Down the line, Wes Welch with a dig. Nice play. Wes Welch and Troy Tanner come out on fire. Our first side change. Timeout. 5-0. The Brazilians are down.
Back to action on
Troy Tanner wanted to start the year with Wes Welch, but Wes Welch was hurt in a skiing accident. He was going Mach 1 in heavy powder, so Welch had to wait until, or Tanner had to wait until Welch healed up. Now they're together. They're playing very well. They lead 5-0 as Jose Loyola puts it away. A kill.
You know, we've talked about Welch and Tanner being the biggest surprise of the year, and we're not just hyping them. They came out of nowhere, each of them individually pretty good players, but they've got something very special going together. They've beaten Kirai and Steffes, one of only 5 teams on the beach this year to do that.
And here's big Wes Welch. And he thunders it through. So far this year, Welch and Tanner 2 seconds and a third. And they almost won a couple of the tournaments, especially in San Francisco, California.
Yeah, should have won in San Francisco. Troy Tanner had a swing for the championship. Adam Johnson stuffed him, and Johnson and Stokos went on to win that one.
Here's Welch having a fabulous year. Basile, and he rips it down the line. Eduardo Jorge Basile, but they call him Anginho. Just to clarify, means little angel in Portuguese. Used to be a setter for the Brazilian national team. 6'4", looks a little smaller than that compared to Loyola, as Loyola serves. Tanner.
Brazilians have struggled, as far as I'm concerned, for the year. Remember, Jose Loyola finished second and king of the beach to Karch Kirai last year. We really expected a lot from them this season, but they have not stepped it up. And now they just imported a coach from Brazil, and they're training a lot harder under his guidance. And desperate to move up the rankings.
Little cut shot. Welch is on top of it. One key for Wes Welch. He has trained much, much harder this year. His wife, Kelly, got him into the weight room and said, Wes, you got to train if you want to play pro beach.
His wife is his personal trainer, and Wes reaching way over the net, getting an arm's length over, cutting off the angle, slapping that down for the score.
6-zip, Tanner and Welch. And Loyola puts it through. Loyola with a big spike. He is 24 years old. He was born in Vitória, Brazil. Grew up around Rio de Janeiro. He's won 3 tournaments, all with Brazil. 0-6.
Here we go.
Tanner blocked. Brazilians can get a point. Brazil. Right to Tanner. And Tanner puts it away.
And Gino has got to swing at that ball. Point scoring opportunity. Good set by his partner. But he's just in love with chopping the ball around the court. Really wants to be a finesse player. But you've got to bring the heat every once in a while, especially when your team is so dead in the water right now.
Wes Welch and Troy Tanner, the 5th seed in the tournament. Eduardo Basil and Jorge Loyola. They are the 4th seeded team. 4 versus 5. Quarterfinal action. Winner moves on into the semifinal. 6-0. Tanner and Welch.
Nobody's up.
Nice dig. Chance for the first point. Not yet. Look at that.
Very reminiscent of the play in San Francisco when Troy Tanner had a sitter at the beginning of a rally for championship point. Playing great defense, but just not finishing off the play that time. Here, not so much damage when you're up 6-1.
Little jump floater.
We get it hard.
And Tanner cracks it hard. Troy Tanner, he is 30 years old, out of Hacienda Heights, California, married, lovely wife Desiree, and a couple of kids. So many of the players married on the AVP tour, at least the older ones, and numerous players have kids. Takes up a little time as Tanner serves. Nice dig by Welch. And Welch can't convert. The rainbow is just a little long. So Basil will serve. 6-1 is our score. 20-second timeout taken. You look at Troy Tanner, you notice he's wearing a foot dig on his left foot. That's from an old foot injury, and he has to play with that because he has a web problem.
Well, he's got a cartilage tear in between his big toe and the next toe to that, with his index toe, I guess. And sometimes as you're approaching the ball or chugging through the sand, your big toe tends to get buried, and he's torn that cartilage. And so to give himself an even surface to run on, he's worn these foot digs. And I know that he's bought a lifetime supply.
Got like 60 pairs of those because they wear out. He plays so much and so hard. They wear out in 2 weeks.
And they don't make them anymore. So
I know what happens when he gets to 60. They could shorten his career. Here's Wes Welch. And Basil is there. A little pokey by the Brazilians. 6-1 our score. And Loyola hooks it in. Welch and Tanner have been great. Sometimes they're streaky, but they can be streaky bad also.
Well, and they have been here. They're up 6-2 on the scoreboard. It should be 10-2. They've had multiple chances to score, and they've kind of lost their edge just a little bit and ran all over Bradford Beach that time to chase after the ball and got nothing done out of it. They got to focus right here, and next time they have a chance to score, get some results out of it.
Wes Welch back to serve.
Wes Welch this year, 9th, 13th, 17th, until he got with Troy Tanner. He says, Troy Tanner's the best partner I've ever played with. I've never had a really good partner. And he's given me a lot of confidence. Tanner with the dig, coming right on. Got a sitter there, and Basil
just taps it around. You hesitate putting it away. He's got an absolute sitter with both defenders occupying the same area of the court, and he doesn't crank it. He just pity-patties the ball around.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like that part of his game because he's got wonderful skills. Last year he had a shoulder injury, and it really bothered him. I think maybe he's bathing that shoulder just a little bit.
Troy Tanner gets the kill, a successful spike.
Tanner now with 6 kills, but Anginio can hit the ball and has great skills in the rest of the game. Defense, jump serving, excellent hands as a setter.
If you just tuned in, you're wondering where Karch Karai and Kent Steffes are. Not entered this week. Karai home watching TV. watching the broadcast with a bruised kidney. Kent Steffes chose not to play. Loyola, his first exhibition of heat.
Surprised how many serves he's getting. He's received 7 serves now. Anginio, his partner, 6. If I were playing this team, I would serve Anginio probably 8 out of 10 times.
6-2 is our score. Here's Welch. Nice cut. Wes Welch chopping it backwards inside. He was the 1991 AVP Rookie of the Year. That was 3 years ago when he was 31, so perhaps the oldest rookie in beach volleyball history. Now training seriously. Much of free spirit in his early days. Didn't train seriously.
Squiggle. Go left.
Chopping. Cutting inside. Nice shot.
So one of the reasons why Anginio, I think, shoots the ball around so much is because his partner is not a great setter. And he's getting a lot of different sets, sometimes on the net, sometimes farther back. And then he gets in a habit and a rhythm of just shooting the ball as opposed to taking a good solid swing. And he's got to adjust that, mix his offense a lot better.
6-2. Ball is dug. Here comes Welch. And he grabs it right down the middle. Score remains 6-2. We can tell you one other quarterfinal team has already won. Scott Friedrichsen and Leif Hansen defeated Daniel Cardenas and his partner Eric Wirtz. Yes, that was a quarterfinal.
Just the pokey here, and Anginio and Loyola just not into it enough right now. Loyola makes the pokey, and then he doesn't get back to the net to block.
Tanner with the game score.
This to move on into the semifinals, and it's become regular fare for Troy Tanner and Wes Welch. They've had a couple of off weeks, but a second in Dallas, a second in San Francisco, a tournament they've had a very good chance to win, and a third in between. They're becoming one of the best teams on the beach.
Ball served out of bounds. So Friedrichsen and Hansen will play the winner of this. That will be tomorrow. Basil will serve. Of course, we will have final action coming up for you tomorrow, live from Bradford Beach here in Milwaukee. They say if you want to play beach volleyball, this is the spot. Nice and cool, at least in the upper reaches. 7-2 is our score. Welch will serve. Loyola, and he puts it away. Wow. And I guess you're allowed to go into the net, aren't you?
Well, he's got his visa stamped, and I guess he's welcome anywhere in the United States or on Bradford Beach. Bombed the ball. There's no center line on the beach. Obviously, players have to be given some freedom to go wherever they need to go to play the ball.
2 serving 7. Thumps it inside again. So Big Welch looking very, very steady. Had a sore shoulder the last couple of weeks, at least according to his partner Troy Tanner, and he could not serve his jump serve, perhaps the most effective part of his game.
Well, that sets up everything for Wes Welch. It gets him on a roll emotionally. It helps his blocking and makes the game for their team a lot easier.
That serve out of bounds, so Tanner gets the serving error. Score remains 7-2. This is quarterfinal action here in Milwaukee. Here's Tanner. Trouble. And Loyola netted. Frustrating start for Basil and Loyola.
Well, Tanner's in trouble, and he's below the net. Immediately, Loyola should have recognized that, backed off, never even been up there blocking. Look at Tanner. He's hitting the ball from below the net. All you're doing as a blocker is giving the hitter a target to work with, and Loyola just out of it in terms of balance into the net for the violation.
Basil, yes, he can hit as he rips it down the line. He plays mostly defense. Loyola will serve. He was second at the King of the Beach to Karch Karai last year. Really opened a lot of eyes. He's won nearly $40,000 so far this year. And he eps up the ace.
Boy, those point scoring opportunities that Troy Tanner and Wes Welch missed may well come back to haunt them later on in this quarterfinal.
Back to Milwaukee after this. Stay with us.
What's the name?
So Wes Welch sets to serve. Ahead by 2.
play is slow. Remember, down on the court, it's got to be over 100 degrees.
Yeah. Sayu.
Anginio, and it's past Welch and down.
I think Tanner and Welch are a little frustrated with Anginio's ability to move the ball around the court right now, doing a lot of fake blocking and forcing him to swing at the ball.
Welch poaches it, and Welch creams it.
Says, I'll take the short middle. I got no problem with that big guy. I can hammer the ball right down the line past him. Almost a short husband and wife.
7-5, Welch and Tanner. And down the line, on the line, goes Basile. Of course, as Paul Sunderland has told you many times, all Brazilians have 4 names and a nickname. The heaviest phone book in South America or the Western world.
Thank goodness for the nickname.
Anginio serving. Loyola, great cover by Welch. Jam coming.
Trouble coming.
And Anginio is into the net. Boy, that was a battle of Godzilla and Rodin up at the top of the net there.
And where there wasn't even any room for Charles Barkley in there. Both big men for their squads working very, very hard. Loyola with the throwdown, and Wes Welch all the way right down to his ankles to make the cover. And the Brazilians playing hard here, working, and have gotten themselves back into this match.
Score still 7-5. Loyola blocked by Tanner.
One of the strengths of this team is that they change off blocking and playing defense. Fresh legs here on the first day of the competition, and Troy Tanner at a solid 6'4", getting up and blocking Loyola.
20-second timeout taken by Anginio and Loyola. This is the Miller Lite Open 8-5 quarterfinal action. Coming up a little later, we hope to be able to show you some of the Brent Frohoff, Ricky Ludy's, Albert Hanneman, Steve Timmons match. Yes, the Olympic star Steve Timmons will be coming your way live if we have time. Trying to show you as much volleyball as possible today on NBC.
Update you from top to bottom of the bracket, and of course, the teams in the losers bracket with 1 loss, talking about the double elimination format. Steve Timmons out of competition for 3 weeks because of a knee injury, and back looking strong, has done his rehabilitation and playing very, very well. They had a nice win over Tim Hovland and Eric Fenoy Moana earlier on in the tournament in the round of 16.
8-5. Tanner just got a block.
Oh, and he gets another one. Troy, you got to smile after that. Give me a little smile. You're talking about you just blocked the highest flyer out here on the beach. And watch Troy. Does he reach over the net? No, he reaches up and then just throws this one straight down back on Loyola.
Loyola's trying to hit over Tanner, and he can't do it. He's got to sizzle the pits, get the ball into the right guard area, don't you think?
Yeah, you got to go underneath, and Loyola hits superior angles, and he tried to challenge Troy over the top, and Troy wasn't going to have any part of it.
9-5. Once again, the winner of this quarterfinal moves on into the semifinals against Scott Friedrichsen and his partner, Leif Hansen. The upset winners that have moved out. Of course, Randy Stokos and Adam Johnson losing today. They are in the contenders bracket. 9-5. Tanner Welch lead. Loyola snaps it. He's not on his game today.
No, you saw the net error earlier on. He was off balance. I just don't think that he's real focused on this game right now. And, you know, with Karai and Steffes gone, all of a sudden, some of the other teams who aren't used to being the favorite are cast into that role, and sometimes they're not very comfortable with it.
Anginio with the serve, trailing by 4.
Line.
Great call. Wes Welch, line, Tanner going, line.
I mean, just to continue that thought, Anginio and Loyola come to a tournament, and of course they're hoping to win, but they know that Karai and Steffes are clearly the #1 team right now. But they figure they're able to beat everybody else, so maybe they're under more pressure in a situation like this when Karai and Steffes aren't here.
3 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game. 9-5.
Yeah.
Anginio. And he snaps it through. Interestingly, Anginio and Loyola, the only team they have never beaten on the AVP Tour is Karai and Steffes. So they were really jacked coming into this weekend.
Well, and should have been, and we'll see how they react. But first, they have to get by Welch and Tanner. And again, a little diversity of offense from Anginio. Able to spank the ball from the right.
You can see the drip coming off Jose Loyola. This week bothered with a cold. I wonder if it's affecting him just a bit.
Told me he'd been sick for a couple of weeks. I'll never remember at the King of the Beach last year. It was about 120 on the court. And I interviewed him in between one of the matches. He says, I like hot. I like hot like Brazil. I like hot. Well, he's got that here.
Poking long out of bounds. Tanner and Welch are looking pretty good right now. 3:16 to go. We'll be back after these words from your local station. 5-point lead. 100 degrees as we come back to you live. The Miller Lite Open here in Milwaukee. We can report to you now that Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh have advanced into the semifinals. Tomorrow they were down 9-6 to Al Jansen. Pat Powers ended up winning 14-9 on the outer court. They will play the winner of Frohoff, Ludes, Hanneman, Timmons, which we hope to show you just a little bit later in our coverage today. Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland, Troy Tanner, and Wes Welch. No, we're not playing each other. Tanner and Welch have the lead on the Brazilians. Brazilians have been sluggish the entire match. They were behind 6-0, made a little run, cut it to 7-5, but then Tanner and Welch scoring a couple, and now it's 10-5.
We're looking at Anginio, and I talked to his girlfriend, Holly McPeak, who is one of the top, if not the top, women's players on the AVP tour, and I said, you know, why isn't Anginio more fired up all the time? Because he's got so much talent. He comes with the ace here, and she said, and they've talked about it, and Holly said, that's just the way I am. And I said, you better change him because he's got the ability to do much better. And she said, he's stubborn, he's young, and he thinks he can win just the way he is.
And she's working on it. Bump right over Loyola, and he kills it, and he is jacked.
He knows his partner won't talk to him, so he has to work with his other best friend, the crowd.
10-7 now as Loyola has shown you some spectacular athletic skills. Sometimes he is so gifted he will try to kick the ball over a la Pelé.
Don Whitmarsh over Chance Powers 14-9.
3:01 to go. A reminder, tomorrow afternoon, tune into NBC Sports for the Budget Rent-A-Car Gymnastics Invitational. Romania and the United States. See Shannon Miller in that one. That'll be in addition to beach volleyball as Tanner. Loyola has the dig. Chance for a point. Big one. Yes!
Where is the block from Troy Tanner or Wes Welch? This ball set nearly right on top of the net. Loyola just bombing away at an open net.
3 points in a row for Anginio Loyola. Tanner and Welch trying to hang on here. And Tanner racks it through. Troy Tanner getting the kill. Tanner in his career has won $132,000. He's only been playing for a couple years. Most of his volleyball career devoted to indoors.
After the '88 Olympics, he pursued professional volleyball overseas for a number of years. Really dedicated himself to the beaches just the last couple.
The Brazilians are loosened up now. With a lot more confidence as Anginio drops another lollipop on the line. The most methodical player I have ever watched in terms of movement. Maybe the only methodical, quiet, calm Brazilian that we have seen. Ace for Loyola. They got it going.
He's talking to his fan club, and Wes Welch and Troy Tanner doing the right thing, talking to one another. They're having difficulty like everybody else does. Hubby-wife area right up the middle. Wes Welch looked like he was committed to it, but just never followed through on the play.
Loyola using an interesting array of serves. He tried the jump floater, that worked. The hard heater in the hubby-wife area, and now the jump spinner.
I think he can dispense with a jump spinner at this juncture in the match. Down 10-5, roaring back to 10-9, and then misses a serve here. Lets Tanner and Welch right off the hook.
Great set. Welch got the best block of his life, and it didn't get him a point.
Look at this. Great reaction, lucky cover, but the play at the end, and Gino showing you how clever he is with the ball.
And Gino with the serve. Score is 10-9. Can't nobody up, and he dribbles it over.
Well, now both teams are even. A couple of plays dedicated to blind luck.
Tanner and Welch got out 6-0. Brazilians caught up and cut the lead to 7-5. Tanner and Welch scored 3 in a row, made it 10-5. But the Brazilians have been on a roll and have cut the lead to 1. And Gino, he has got some soft movement, doesn't he? He does the samba slow dance style.
Well, he better get a good call from his partner Loyola in terms of location of shot. He's very exact at his location, but it better be the right direction from his partner.
Or it's an easy pickoff. 10-9. Tanner, and he's off Loyola, out of bounds. So Troy Tanner, he is the captain of his team. Most of the strategy comes from Tanner. They play very, very well together, Tanner and Welch. Loyola looking for the bomb. And he creams it over the top.
See, Gino moved the set back about a yard off the net, and that gives Loyola a big advantage in terms of being able to swing over the top. Can't set the ball too close or the blocker immediately has the advantage.
There's Gino. Perfect set. Tanner drops it down the line. 1:58 to go in the game now. 10-9. Tanner and Welch holding on by a point.
Each of these teams has already played 2 matches in the competition today. Fatigue, I don't think, really a factor for either of these pairs, in spite of the heat.
Welch with a serve. And Gino showing he can get up. And here comes Loyola.
This is the common way to get after the Brazilians. You serve Gino. Loyola's not as strong a setter. And then Gino unable to hit the ball quite as hard, but he can spank it.
Brazilians trying to tie it up right here. And Tanner racks it hard. So Tanner and Welch and Gino Loyola siding up or getting possession, winding that clock down at 1:46 to go in the game. Winner of this match plays Scott Friedrichsen and Leif Hansen. Semifinal tomorrow.
Eduardo Bacio, of Copacabana, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
And Gino in jump serve posture. Let's see if he goes for it. Got a short takeoff. 1-2. And Welch got a good rest as they served Tanner about 20 times, and now he is jacked up again.
Well, that's the strength of their team. Good passers, both of them, both set with their hands. A very important ability, particularly in changing weather conditions. You go to Tanner, he hangs in there, sides out for a long time, and then Welch is able to come back and do his part of the bargain by siding out as well.
Doug, chance for a point. Tanner on the left. Got it! Timeout call. An important point for Tanner and Welch as they lead 11-9. Last year's prize money, the majority taken home by Karts-Karaai and Kent Steffes. $4 million in prize money this year. Of course, the Kings of the Beach are not here this week. Karts-Karaai at home with his bruised kidney. What's Karts doing this week? He is laying in bed. He's got 4 movies: Patriot Games, Dead Zone, Cutting Edge, and Basic Instinct. I told him be careful with Basic Instinct until your kidney feels a little bit better. Don't want that kidney to get overhand. Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland, the Miller Lite Open. 1:30 to go. Good action here. And Gino Loyola have caught up almost. They got to within 10-9. Tanner and Welch making a saving play. And now it's a 2-point lead. Tanner and Welch early. The Brazilians came on. Got to within 1, but have not been able to take the lead. And not much time left, 1:25. Welch.
Nice shot. Good ball control, and right now the Brazilians, neither one of them putting a lot of pressure on Wes Welch or Troy Tanner in terms of jump serving or the jump floater or tough short serve or anything else. It's just a walk in the park. Easy pass, set. Where's the defense? Nobody over there.
Tanner Welch by 2. Still working on Anginio. And Anginio jacks it down the line. He's got the deep line shot. He moves and plays a lot like St. John Smith in terms of shots. He's got a great cut shot. He's got a great line shot.
But you can't fall into his tempo if you're Welch or Tanner. You just can get so frustrated watching the little loopies land right on the back line or on the sideline in the corner for an hour.
Here's Tanner. And Tanner hit it out. Point. So a little high for Troy Tanner, and Anginio Loyola are within 1, 11-10.
That has been their problem, hitting balls out of bounds. Troy Tanner hit a ball out of bounds to lose to Stokos and Johnson in San Francisco.
Anginio serving to try to tie. And Welch, top heavy slice.
Well, that's got to be a missed serve, though. Don't you go back to Troy Tanner just after he's flailed one long. You got to serve him once again.
Talked about Wes Welch being a free spirit. He loves to ski, snowboard, and surf. Likes to go in deep powder. That's how he hurt his knee originally, but now totally focused on volleyball.
Wants to be able to pay for all that other stuff.
Good shot. Great deception. If you're wondering about St. John Smith, the former king of the beach, he is still out with a knee injury, as are a number of other players.
Well, Brian Lewis injured his knee in Dallas. Landed on a court support a couple of weeks ago. We hope he's back. Of course, Scott Akatubby pulled a groin muscle in Miami. He's missed 9 tournaments in a row.
Here's Tanner. And Tanner hit it out. Tanner saying touch. He's begging for a touch. The linesman saying no.
He wants Greg Krause to come look at the ball mark.
I'm going with his call. Let's go.
If the ball hits any part of the rope, it's in. Any part
He's
of
right
the rope.
there. Let's go.
Don't have a good look at it right there. The linesman right on the play, and Greg Krause is saying, hey, the guy's looking right at it.
51.5 seconds to go. We're tied at 11. Big play there. Winner of this one goes on into the semifinals. Loser is virtually out of the tournament. Be a very tough road to come back. Tanner hooked up, but not quite enough. If time runs out, we should tell you that you can be leading by 1 and you win. If you get to 15, you have to win by 2.
Troy Tanner going back to serve with 45
Tanner will
seconds
serve.
remaining.
Of course, you're saying what happens if we're tied when time runs out? Then we go 1 point, sudden death. Next point wins. And inside the blocks, Anginio. Score remains tied at 11. 40 seconds to play.
And as the match has worn on, Anginio's mixing it up a little bit more. Pinging the ball down the line, that time hitting it hard cross court, and then those frustrating shots.
We're tied with 40 seconds. Welch, block, out of bounds. Give the kill to Welch. That play took 6 seconds, and Welch will serve.
West back to the line to serve. 11-11 with 34 seconds remaining.
Just missed the ace. Ball back to the Brazilians.
Welch deciding right then and there to take a chance. Try to get the advantage with time winding down. Wanted the clean ace.
Tied at 11. And it's off Loyola, so another side out.
Well, Loyola is just waving his hands all over the place, blocking right now, hoping for something good to happen.
He learned that from you, didn't he?
He didn't learn it from me, maybe you, but you got to be disciplined, particularly at crunch time. You got to go back to your fundamentals. You've got to get his hands over the net. Not doing a good job blocking right now.
Still tied at 11. Clock ticking, and Anginio scores a side out. 19 1/10 second. Brazilians discussing a little strategy.
Anginio back to serve.
Tanner Welch 11, Anginio Loyola 11.
You out.
That's out.
Serve out, side out.
Clock does run when you serve the ball out of bounds. That took a couple of seconds off.
From the moment the ball is contacted until the ball hits the sand, the clock will run.
Time remaining. We're tied. 11 all. And Welch rips one. It's out of bounds. So players perhaps tightening up just a bit. 15.5 seconds to go. Score remains tied. It might be who gets the first serve in.
Well, if Loyola doesn't get this one in, all the Brazilian soccer team watching in Chicago is going to have his head.
Tanner down the line. Good. 9 and 4 10 seconds to go. Tanner and Welch have a chance now. Crowd comes alive. You can only score when you serve, so Tanner and Welch have the advantage. And it's down the line. 3 and 7 10 seconds. So this will be the last play of regulation. If we are tied at the end of regulation, it is next point wins, sudden death. They will reflip, no time on the clock, except for side change.
I would serve Tanner, take his line, and funnel everything to Anginio cross court.
For the win. Anginio Loyola. No! And time is out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the clock has expired.
So regulation is over. Sudden death is coming up.
On the board, Greg Krause, our official, will flip a coin to determine side and serve.
Greg Krause will reflip. We'll take a timeout. We're coming back. Next point wins sudden death in Milwaukee.
Your choice. We got to go right now, okay?
Ice brewed the right way for more of what you want in a beer.
What?
Nothing.
Brewed light for less of what you don't.
All right. Who's the...
Here, Miller Lite Ice. It's new.
Who are you?
Light ice guy.
Huh.
You all right, boy?
What, he can't see?
Some get it, some don't.
Hey, are you from heaven?
No, Milwaukee.
Wow.
If you get it, get it.
On NBC.
Back at the Miller Lite Open at Milwaukee, Chris Marlowe and Paul Sunderland. Troy Tanner and Wes Welch against Anginio and Loyola. Tanner has emptied his shoe out for sudden death. Explain the rules real quick.
1 point. 30 seconds will be put on the rally clock. Only there for side changes. The first team to score wins. Simple as that. And I really think the Brazilians made a mistake in serving Wes Welch down the stretch. Troy Tanner's the better setter, and I think Tanner, when push really comes to shove, he's going to hit the ball hard cross court, and that would have been the play I would have made.
Tanner and Welch trying to advance into the semifinals against Scott Friedrichsen and Leif Hansen. But Eduardo Anginio will have the serve, and Loyola is at the net. First point wins. Tanner. Dug up. He's got a swing at it. He's blocked and it's down. Not a bad opportunity.
Hey, there was the play right there. Serve Troy Tanner. He's going to go cross court. That's his favorite shot. There was the block. There was the defense. Loyola just could not make the play. A very hittable dig that time.
Wes Welch serving for the win. Tanner and Welch have dominated play at the net. Welch, trouble, save, and Welch is on. He got it up.
Loyola was going back to serve.
Basil, he can't score. Woo!
Loyola had absolutely given up on that play after the ball was struck. He was walking back to serve and only knew the ball was coming back because of the crowd noise.
For the win, Loyola. We're in sudden death. Welch. Dig is out. And Tanner is saying, I think he's challenging something about the clock. Do you think, Paul?
Well, I think they're saying side change, but they've waved it off.
Should be a side change right now. 30 seconds are put up.
7 is on the clock.
Well, there's time still left.
7 is on the clock.
clock is just used for side changes to negate the wind or sun advantage. So Tanner and Welch have to serve one more time.
From this side, if they don't score, then we'll switch sides.
We were tied at 11 at the end of regulation. We're in sudden death. Next point wins. Tanner serving.
You're clear.
Anginio. Tanner with the dig. Welch went the wrong way. He was spinning inside and got caught side out. All right, we're still going. Sudden death. We'll take a quick timeout. We're coming right back. Chris Morrow, Paul Sunderland back at the Miller Lite Open here in Milwaukee. We were tied at 11 at the end of regulation. We're in sudden death. A capacity crowd. Anginio, Loyola, the Brazilians playing against Troy Tanner, Wes Welch, the Americans. You can only score when you serve. It is sudden death. Next point wins. So the first team to serve and score a point wins this match. Anginio with the serve. Tanner. A tremendous comeback by Anginio, Loyola. They were down at one point, 10-5. They tied it up 11 all at the end of regulation, and then they win by 1 in sudden death. Stay with us. The Old Spice winning moment came in sudden death. The final point scored. Anginio and Loyola on the attack. Troy Tanner got a pretty good set from Wes Welch, but watch Loyola go up strong. The block and the win, advancing into the semifinals. Our Old Spice winning moment, yeah. Yes, in Portuguese. As the Brazilians advance. Our Old Spice winning moment. Let's go down to Paul Sunderland with the winners. Paul?
All right, Chris. Well, it took Anginio and Loyola the usual amount of time to get started, down 10-5. What did you decide to turn this thing around and get back into the match?
Oh, I take off my shirt, I turn my hat, and let's go.
So you know about rally caps and wardrobe?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, but let's talk about the overtime. You served Wes Welch to send it into overtime, but then you decided to serve Troy Tanner. Why was that?
No, I told my partner for keep the service in Troy because I didn't any block in the game, but I'm sure in the last ball I'm gonna block. So that's it. I'm right. I block the last ball.
Is he always right about these sorts of things?
Of course, always right.
All right, let's talk for a second about Kirai and Steffes not being here. That's the only team you've never beaten. Do then you feel like you become one of the favorites to win the tournament?
Yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of good teams. Have one upset this morning with Stockton and AJ, but we'll keep going. Tomorrow has some more games, tough games.
Last year, after you finished second at King of the Beach, I think your expectations were very high for this season as a team. Have you been a little bit disappointed with your results so far?
Yes, because I think we don't begin the season like training hard, but now we bring some guy for teacher and coach hours now. Now we training so hard for the end of the season. That's who we want to be. End of the season is strong.
All right, and strong today in the quarterfinals. Anginio and Loyola move on. We'll have more quarterfinal action coming at you from the Miller Lite Open at Milwaukee after this short timeout.